Snow White is so bad that Stephen Hawking would have walked out within 5 minutes. This right here is the level of filmmaking we're talking about, because mirror, mirror on the wall, is Disney's stock price about to fall again? Hit the like button and subscribe, because this whole thing has been hilarious to me. Is this Disney's idea of combating piracy by making their movies worse than the Human Centipede? Because if that's the case, bravo, you succeeded. Oh, by the way, I mean that literally. Disney's Snow White is the worst movie ever on IMDb, with a rating of 1.5. Are you kidding me? With over 200,000 reviews so far. I could literally record paint drying and it would at least be a 1.9. And by the way, how fitting that Snow White would be the beginning and the end of Disney. I mean, we went from a charming fairy tale with beautiful hand-drawn animation in 1935, almost 100 years ago, to a social political checkbox with nightmarish, I'm telling you, terrible CGI in 2025. I mean, there's gotta be DEI in the CGI department too. It's not just writers and actors and directors. The Rock goes all the way through. I mean, how did Lord of the Rings do it? I mean, there's so much talk about this and that, but Lord of the Rings is arguably the best movie trilogy ever made. And they made the Hobbits look perfect, whereas in Snow White, these aren't even dwarves. I mean, they look like bloody garden gnomes. Is it Snow White and the 7 Gnomes? Or something, because in the 90s you had Jurassic Park, you even had things like Titanic and Starship Troopers. I know people who saw that in the theater were thinking, oh my god, this looks amazing, it's almost real. They left the movie theater thinking, can you imagine what effects will look like 20-25 years in the future? Little did they know that 30 years in the future, it will look terrible with fake-ass green screens and blurry 3D for everything. You know what's funny about this Snow White film is that Snow White does none of the cleaning in this interpretation. She just bosses the dwarves around. And speaking of piracy, the fact that Johnny Depp is banned from every Disney production, and yet this Rachel Zegler woman isn't, should tell you everything you need to know why Disney is losing money. The nerve to throw Captain Jack Sparrow off the plank. You aren't ready for what's about to happen, Disney. Now, out of all the characters, they decide to race swap. They race swap the one character whose name is quite literally tied to her skin. Skin as white as snow. The fairest of them all were meant to be literal. And once again, this movie has lost over $300 million. The people who blindly defend this silly ideology didn't even support the movie because, whoa, buddy, that is a bomb if I've ever seen one. I am not going to talk about how bad the film is. Plenty of people have done that already, other than the fact this is the first Snow White adaptation that makes me root for the poison apple. You know what's funny? If the Gremlins saw this film instead of the original, they would have willingly walked into the sunlight. Anyway, listen, what I do want to talk about is this unmitigated PR disaster. This Rachel lady, who looks like if Lord Farquaad had a baby with Bruno Mars, is actually costing herself a job at Disney. I mean, her eyes are so far apart, she can hear herself blink. Now, I need you to understand why she's about to get fired from Disney. You need to see the full extent of just how much of a PR disaster this lady is. I mean, this foolish young lady has been on quite of a tear. As of late, you have to watch the full thing to fully grasp the level of egotistical behavior that we're dealing with. This isn't just one of your regular flamboyant actresses just having another meltdown. Do not skip or fast forward. You must understand the gravity of it. I mean, otherwise you won't understand what I'm about to say. Roll the clips.
I'm a narcissist. Original cartoon came out in 1937, and very evidently so.
Okay.
There's a big focus on her love story with a guy who literally stalks her. Yeah. Weird. And then it became like, I will elbow everyone out of the way to play the part. That people will assume is a love story just because, like, we cast a guy in the movie, right. Andrew Burnap. All of Andrew's scenes could get cut. Who knows? It's Hollywood, baby.
I say, if I'm going to stand there 18 hours in a dress of an iconic Disney princess, I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
And we absolutely wrote a Snow White that is
not going to be saved by the prince.
She's not going to be saved by the prince, and she's not going to be dreaming about true love. She's dreaming about becoming the leader she knows she can be.
I'm a happy sun, a sleepy rising, and a bashful moon.
Wow, what the f***? I mean, she hates... Okay, where do we start? She hates Snow White, but yet she plays Snow White. Just think about the level of just narcissism that you could go into a story that predates your life by minimum 80, 90 years. You can go in there and change the very fabric of its meaning. You are, Rachel, literally the opposite of who Snow White is, and that's not even taking looks into account. You have this obnoxious way about you, this constant face of looking down on you because I'm so progressive. I'm so progressive, which means I am automatically better than you. I don't think so, you nut. I mean, you're the kind of person I can tell who's never been told no in your entire life. Zero humility, zero class. You are the prime example of a DEI hire. No acting talent, no singing talent, just pure liberal stupidity. Whoever decided to cast you as Snow White cost Disney literal millions. This is the kind of up that would get someone fired, but over at Disney, people fail upwards. At this point, I actually think this Rachel Zegler woman is an undercover conservative plant who was put in there to destroy Disney stock. Because otherwise, you either listen to the fans and actually deliver on something they want, or you're gonna lose money. It's as simple as that. Because at this point, it's not even funny. It's like watching a kid in class just constantly punch himself in the face. And in one of these clips, she says, "Oh, if you don't like it, don't buy it." Well, we didn't. And the result was hundreds, thousands of movie theaters with nobody sitting in the f***ing screening. You know what's funny? I'm kind of obsessed about how dumb this movie is. Because nobody who was involved in this stopped for a second and said, you know, none of this is really working. The actress who plays Snow White sucks, the evil witch sucks, the dwarves suck, and none of this CGI looks real. I mean, these people are just completely out of it. If they don't like the antiquated original story of Snow White, why not just make your own story? The answer to that is that these people, Disney and Hollywood in general, are just creatively bankrupt. I don't understand why they make it so difficult. If you want to make a live action movie of an original film, just do it exactly how the original movie was made. Stick to as close as you can to the source material. It's really not that hard. I'm not telling you to do it in the first place because you're all incompetent rats, but if you are gonna do it, at least do it that way. You know what's weird? They should just cast the members from Disneyland because funny enough, those people actually look like the characters. I found a clip of the evil queen either on YouTube or TikTok who looks exactly like the original story. Just hire those people is better than this garbage, and on that bombshell, let me know in the comments what you think. Manix out.